So clean workflow instances. What did we mean? We looked at the PR and we said it was okay. Apparently, yeah. So it's if there is no more activity available in a workflow instance, then it will delete the workflow instance. That's it. Missed arguments. Okay, this one was missing the form name, and you'll notice that this is forms. So this must be Sipka's issue. Fixed radio button bug in base.js. Apparently, when you are using the radio button with the specific toggle, which one is that? Toggle, yeah, the thing that toggles the visibility of something based on the check state. For radio button, it was not working, so now it works. And a CSS rule set for superscript and subscript. So superscript and subscript was not displaying correctly with the default resets. So now it's fixed in the site.css file. That's it. And 3 PRs from the same user, Christopher Colander, Kubi. I don't know. Kubik. Is that Polish? Looks like Polish. Vendor. That's it for Orchard 1. Questions? Okay. Orchard 2. OrchardCore. Lots of changes, like 200 something. Okay, 7 days ago. So let me see, there should be lots of branches, which means I will just focus on the dev branch for now to see what has been merged. And I will pull. Nothing. 15 days. That's weird. Okay. What? That's weird. Oh, I know. It's origin there. You sure? No? Okay, I will remove that and I will check out. Okay, so 7 days ago, what do we have? Hides connection string if SQLite preselected. As explained, if we select SQLite, it should hide the connection string, and it was on the tenants page. I should fixing setup because of the previous change, which was marking the field as disabled when it was defined in a tenant, an existing tenant. Then it will not be submitted with a form, but putting it as read only will submit it with a form. Updated ImageSharp version, the one from the NuGet gallery. Resources, documentation, so Antoine updated some documentation on this page, fixing the typos and adding what's missing, and updating also some libraries and hashes. Menu documentation, so we'll see lots of documentation, that's good. So documentation about menu, and this is customizing a menu, or list or menu, a list. This is customizing list. This is then the menu ones to create the different templates. So these are just examples of templates. I think I changed it after, because it didn't look like this last time I saw that. I think I changed it after. We'll see. And the navigation, which is different than menus. Menus are content items, and navigation is just a provider-based thing. It can be drafted or localized and everything. Okay, so documentation, Autoroute documentation. This is an entry point, and this is the README for Autoroute, explaining what an Autoroute is and some samples for patterns that are mostly used. Placement documentation, updating the placement files based on the changes we did in the descriptors. A link to a video about shapes, and a link to the list of differentiators, and there is a typo here. It's a T, differentiators that are used in placement, and there is already some documentation explaining all the differentiators for all the shapes. That's why it's just a link. Now, then a new date field. I think we mentioned that last week. Maybe a new date field. Date field, just with a date, which is not time zone, and I think we mentioned that last week. The media UI, we mentioned that last week. Fixing preset tenants, we mentioned that last week, and nobody mentioned that. We mentioned that last week. This one, adding default tenant only for feature manifest. Yes, we mentioned that also, so that the feature can only be enabled on the default tenant. Okay, this one we didn't mention. Fix list for README. Okay, some typos. ApiExplorer reference. Yep, some merge conflicts made some issues, so it is fixed. Another thing like this. Bootstrap switch editor in CSS. So we merged on one PR about having the CSS for Bootstrap switch in the specific module, I think. Here in the admin, in this case. Is that what we said? I don't remember. Or maybe
in the admin.
Okay, so just in the admin, so that anything in the admin can use this class. Okay, that's the idea.
Yes.
And you fix the size, so we could have the small one by default also.
Yes.
Dependencies.AspNetCore.props, some merging issues that messed up with all the versions that we had defined. Again, as a reminder, because I saw the issue this morning, this file is to have a consistent set of versions for specific packages, so that all the modules we have in the main solution use the same version. Otherwise, we will see warnings and build failures. And when we reference one of these packages, okay, which is mostly all the packages from AspNetCore and the NetCore, if we reference any of these packages, we don't need to set the version. So in your modules, don't set the version, just do nothing. Just say package reference and include the name of the package. And there is a script, an MS-build target, that will take the version from this file and assign it to the one in the module automatically. Okay, so we don't have to set the versions in the package references from our module. That's the idea. This is the source of the versions. Okay. Fixing trumbowyg preview, so it was off by one char, one event at least. So now it's registering to the correct event.
It's commented.
And yes, but at the same time, I think Jean-Thierry pushed another one after that. Yes, that does the correct fix here. And removing the previous code from Matthias. It was the correct fix with Matthias, but too much correct fix. Too much fixing. The theme footer, so this was fixing the footer in the theme and so adding the footer zone and the sticky footer navbar. Content filters merged. Antoine showed it last week, and we merged it to be able to have some standard filtering on the content item page. The fix from Jean-Thierry. OpenIddict Connect client. So this is to support social logins and in users. There is no provider by default, but now you can use any default AspNetCore provider, and mostly the ones from TheTheme that is shipped yesterday, and they will appear automatically on the login page. And if there is none open or activated or setup, then they won't appear in the login page. There was a bug that will be fixed later, we'll see that. Remove dependencies on removed modules. Okay, because of TPR. Fixing menu shape alternates, bad reference, and then the menu shapes alternates for not working correctly. So I think, yeah, so I was writing the documentation for the menu, improving what Antoine did, and then I found some discrepancies in the way we could update the menu, so I also fixed that. For instance, so this is just documentation, this is just a reference. This one now, you see like menu, so there was no, for instance, alternate with the name of the menu. So now there will be an alternate with the name of the menu dash main menu. See, differentiator. And same thing for the menu items, and same thing for the menu item links. Added more alternates, reorganized the alternates, and updated documentation to explain what is available on the menu, content item ID, items for the menu, so the items of the menu, the name of the differentiator, and then the alternates, example main dash main menu, and then some examples, the ones from Antoine mostly. Menu item, how to configure it, what you have access to, the level, the content item of the menu item, the menu, where the menu item is, all these alternates, and some sample also about how to write a simple menu item. In this case, you can see drop down, things like that, because it's using the level and showing you how to use the level. No, actually, I removed the level here. Menu item link, and I explain also that at some point the menu item link shape is used to render a menu item link. This shape is created by morphing a menu item shape into a menu item. Okay, so it's not a different shape, it's the same one as a menu item, is morphed to a menu item. So all the properties on the menu item link are the same as the menu item. Then some samples. Okay, so I think that's sufficient to theme a menu. Updating getting start section from Greg, who fixed some typos and issues. Who's Greg? It's Greg, fourth. Then Blob, Matthias fixed many bugs on the Azure Blob storage, and the fact that it doesn't work with ImageSharp resizing, and also in the editor. The theme content alternate. Yes, so that the theme can also display content items, otherwise it will be ugly. So Antoine made a default template for that. Use standard AddIdentity. We were using some copy of the code, probably because it was targeting 2.0, and now that we have 2.1, we can use the AddIdentity from ASP.NET Identity directly and not copy paste the code. It was showing an issue with the social logins. Again, Matthias fixing blob storage issue. LocalClock was using a wrong async pattern, and it was causing some perf issues and connection timeouts on high load. So Jean-Thierry found the issue and fixed it, just using correct async pattern. I made a mistake. I tried to be clever, and it was actually super bad. So next time I won't try to be clever. This one fix the ref exception on the controller. It just needs to check some things. In case you type a wrong ID, then it will return a 404 and not an exception. Documenting theming. This is the best article ever. Not this one, maybe. Is it this one? This is a fix. Documented theming. Oh, this is this one. Everything about how to create a template and how content item templates works and alternates, and some sample. Explaining the parts, how they are rendering shapes, adding them to the zones of the content template, how you can remove them, extract them, reuse them, how the fields are added also. So everything is explained here. Good.
We find everything ready.
What?
The good find ready. In the Orchard world, we have to dig up.
Yeah, you don't have to dig anything.
Yeah.
Everything is explained. This is what? Adding active menu item. Scripts. Yeah, this is from Antoine's ID. JavaScript code that will set the active element on the current menu. The menu is cached, so it's not re-rendered, and its attributes are not re-rendered when a new page is displayed. So this script, if you include it with this example, like this, activate links, this script will change the active class of the current active menu item. And you can customize which class you want to add and on which items you want to add it. Parameter. And this is documented in the source code. Simplifying and documented widget opening. Again, documentation, this time about widgets. And also, while you document things, you realize that some things are missing or not very obvious to do. So I changed also how it was templatable. But this one explains all the things you need to know about the widgets and layers, if you are using layers, and why you need a widget wrapper when you are using layers, and how to remove this tag or to change it, or customize a single widget or all the widgets. With documentation, with examples also. Okay, like example of liquid and razor to render a specific widget. And also no pictures in this case. And that's good. And then changed based on some feedback also and some issues, like someone said you should not use article for widget. I said, okay, div with a class, with all the classes that are available on the model, including widget and widget-type name. This is not done in the view anymore. This is done in the shape event handler directly, so we don't have to care about this code. So it simplifies the widget. Same thing in liquid. More alternates also. Where is that? The layers filter, you see alternates for the zone. So if you want to change the wrapper for widgets for a specific zone, you can now, or all the widget wrappers. Again, this is when a layer renders some widgets in a zone, it will create a wrapper around all the widgets, so you can change that. And this wrapper is necessary because in a layer, a widget has a title, and there is an option to render or not the title. So this wrapper contains the logic to render the title. But if a widget is not part of the layers, but just rendered as is, or from a set of other parts, like the back part or the flow part, then they don't use the widget wrapper, just displayed as is. Security services to add OrchardCore and isolating NotifyFilter. This is using, so this is removing it because it's not a module anymore, it's not necessary anymore, but there is also a fix to use the default data protector. So for the notifications, they used to create their own tenant protector, but since it's been merged in dev branch, we can use them now. So the notification is using it also. This one is removing what's not necessary anymore because it's in data protection. No, because it's moved in the correct location, the service collection. This is how it's configured data protection per tenant, you see, and persisted in the app data by default for each tenant. But it can be overridden, and we have an implementation using Azure Blob storage already. Some fixes from Jean Jordan, like typos and grammatical issues, he fixed from the documentation we made. This is a change of grammar also, changing the launch settings for VS Code. And there is another change later on. I hope it's not the opposite of this one, because then we don't agree on the solution. Fixing NLog. which should handle a specific null value, I think. Yep. When there is no tenant, it should just say node when there is a tenant, because it can be thrown from something which is not inside a tenant, a host. Fixing references and csproj files. Theory. Oh yes, homogenizing the net standard versus net core targets. Ensure owner is not null, so we will add some validation on the owner field. Remove a new service using relative URLs from when I do from where we have documentation. Fix links in themes, same thing. That's why we have PRs. This way you don't have 5 commits to do the same thing. Markdown fence, blah blah blah. Configuration of the documentation. The Antoine, that's called a PR, and then we merge the PR to fix it. So we work isolated from the dev branch, and then when it's ready, you merge. Not even if it's a PR, it's just if it's a branch. Documentation. Again. And also PRs give a chance for other people to look at what has changed. So if it's a small fix, that's okay. If you are very confident, you can push directly. If it's 20 commits, then it's a PR, and people have to review it.
Yeah, sorry. Did file by file, and also that I need to check that it was well generated by read the docs.
Okay.
That's some changes.
And you can do a branch also. If you don't want to do a PR, yeah, I'm sure. Well, I assume there is a way to do that. Okay. Boom. Update module documentation. Okay, same thing. Migrate to OpenIddict RC3. So Kevin updated all the packages to the latest version of OpenIddict and changed the breaking changes in the code also. Remove the admin footer. We mentioned that when it was merged, and we saw the issue that it adds issues with scroll bars because there is a footer at the end, so the scroll bar is messed up, or there are not 2 scroll bars. So it was a big issue in Orchard 1, and Antoine removed it because it started to have an issue with the media and another editor, I think the code mirror or some code editor. So now it's removed. The long-term solution will be to have a page. So this footer was just showing the Orchard version.
Yeah.
So there is not much advantage of that taking space just for a version. So next long-term goal is to have a page for diagnostics or health check that will display all the information that we want to render on this page using modules. So modules will provide information about diagnostics and health about each module, and we'll display it in a nice page, and including one of the information will be the version of Orchard. You can imagine that memory available or memory taken, disk space, internet speed, you could imagine anything. And there should be some API in the next version of ASP.NET that we can plug into also. That should help for lots of scenarios. This one, removing a restriction which activities are startable. So now you can start a workflow from any activity, not just events. The idea being, and correct me if I'm wrong, the idea being that you can start a workflow from doing something, not an event, but you can say start this workflow and do that. For instance, with forms. Update dependency to latest versions. So Antoine updated all the libraries to the latest ones. Custom activity title. So Sipco added, it was some feedback we gave a long time ago, a new field on the workflow editor, so you can type a nice name or a nice title to your workflow explaining what it does, and this title will be reused in the editor. So instead of seeing a type of a workflow, you will see what the activity means, like, oh, adding the role to the list of users that submitted whatever, for instance. And move cursor, so move cursor to the items that you can move, because otherwise you don't know you can move them. Alexander fixed the build because the packages were not deployed anymore. Apparently put everything on. Oh, okay, he did 2 steps. First, putting everything on multiple lines, and then back, I think, on 1 line. And I don't know which change. Oh, this is it. This was the dash then. Okay, maybe I should. Maybe not. I don't know what change fixed it. No idea. Or maybe it was missing the dash here. Yeah, that must be it. It was missing the dash. So maybe it was not building. Or maybe it was missing the .NET pack. I don't know. Fixing path for the drag thumbnail. Ensuring the drivers call the correct permissions. Example here, because if the settings are available from a controller, this controller is a generic one that doesn't check for permissions for each setting. It doesn't know. So the drivers in this case, before being editable, should check for the permission. Okay, that's an example. It's very easy. Just get the current user from the HTTP context accessor and use authorize async. Add OrchardCMS overload with a configure action, and also some changes to remove all the attributes that are not necessary in MVC app, at least in Orchard app. And the main change being also that you can do add OrchardCMS and pass and configure the OrchardCore builder, which will let you, for instance, call add MVC and also tenant level services. Removing all the things which are not necessary for pre-compiling views, and ensuring horizontal pages still work. So all the project files now are clean. So if you want one, you can update the templates with that changes. Set order explicit in data protection, just to be sure that this Azure Blob storage data protection storage will be run after the default one and then take over. The module is enabled. We merged the forms module, lots of changes. So the new forms module that corresponds to dynamic forms in Orchard 1, but in my opinion is much better. Add release notes to documentation. This will talk about what we put in these release notes and where we put them, if we put them in documentation or just on the release page of GitHub. And Orchard.NET templates, I merged also this new feature. So Antoine made all the .NET new commands, so we can use .NET new to generate modules, apps, parts, solutions, whatever. We can talk about everything which is available, but at least everything is implemented, and from that we can iterate over the things we want, and if we need to change some templates or add new ones. Okay, that's a very good start. I thought I had merged Jasmine's branch. I'm almost sure I did that. That's weird. I didn't. Jasmine made some documentation about these templates and more. I thought I'd merged that, then I will. And then there are other branches open. We'll look at the PRs because they're mostly represented in PRs. Yeah, simply removing that because I assume you saw the change I did.
No, you just mentioned it again.
Oh, because I did the change on I didn't the change on Antoine's PR here. 8 minutes ago. Yeah.
My PR was targeting
Antoine's branch, so maybe you just merge his branch first.
That's what I did. So when you said my PR was targeting, I was afraid you said master.
No.
Because I didn't check, but you said okay, that's good. So, then you reopen it and target dev. Can you do that? Are you sure you can do that?
Maybe, yeah.
Wait. Let's see.
And you will need to add the link in the nkdocs.yml.
Okay, make a new PR then. Because your branch is still there, you can just still create a PR from Antoine's branch to dev, change what you want, and manage it.
And I checked on my Get, and the templates project package, corresponding package, the CMS one has not been generated, and the module and theme ones are on version 1.0.
Okay, you made a mistake.
Yeah, I guess.
That's fine, we can fix it. So let's see.
I don't know what I forgot.
Let's see, stable likely. And this one, I want to see the Avayor one. What is that? This one. Nightly, this one. Okay. So, I think I know. I will show you. It's based on where your projects are. So let's see.
I've put them in a templates folder. The three of them.
I will show you.
Okay.
It's interesting to understand how it works. So if I go to, so you put it in SRC?
No, templates.
Well, SRC templates, okay.
Okay. Yes.
Okay, and in this case, what you need, if you look at any project here, what happens is that they will inherit from, because they are in modules, for instance, there is, you see Directory.Builds.props and Directory.Builds.targets. So these files are like includes that will be added to all the projects under them, so all the modules. And you will find that they reference the build commons targets and the module targets. But the build commons targets, here in this case, SRC, build, OrchardCore.Commons target, will, this is maybe not this one, so one of them will use that. But this one, where is it? There is one props file. Yeah, the prop. Okay, one of them. Okay, that's it. So in the end, one of them is using the OrchardCore.Commons.props, and this one will define all the versioning behavior for all the project, all the packaging. Okay, and one of these is if the build number is set, then use it as version suffix dash build number, and this build number is set on Avayor. So from Avayor, it will take whatever prefix and suffix we have in this file and append the build number. So what you need to do is, if you're not in the SRC module, then you need to reference directly this file from the MS build by doing an import, and you will get all this behavior. And if I look at something else which is not in the modules, like these are samples, like the themes, they also have the same thing. So you can add something like this if you want, so that all the projects from the template will inherit from that, and you don't have to to do that on each project. You just do that on one of the files here. So if I take that, you see it's referencing the, so take this file and use this line, and then it will run. Okay?
And for the cms.web project?
No, cms.web project, the template one, yes. All the template ones. So you copy this file here. I'm copying it. You put it in templates. Then from there, we can remove that. And we can probably remove that. We don't need debug information in this bucket. And that's it. Okay? And just with that, all the projects here will have all the things defined in OrchardCore.Commons.props. And I don't think we need the targets, because the targets are just for command compilation, like pre-compiled views and everything. So you just need this file. Try that, create a PR, and we'll see how it goes. It will compile a PR, and it will it should work. Questions? We can. Okay. Release. So let's look at the issues. Milestone beta 2. Okay. Some people are adding more stuff. No, this one is closed. It was just not finding the correct image PR.
The last one.
Yeah, we need to talk about. This one I commented on Matthias' PR. I don't disagree with the PR, but I would like to. Okay, no, this is the issue, but I commented on the PR itself, and I discovered something from MVC. I think it's a bug. I commented because I think there might be a better solution, and but unless there is only if there is an issue with what I mentioned, I will explain that. So if I look at the issues, create release nodes, so an issue about creating release nodes, that's not blocking. This is what we will do. Documentation and documentation, mostly provided and fulfilled by Jasper's branch about the .NET new templates. We could also create an article about how to build modules, how to build parts and everything, but we have templates at least, so I think we could close them if we have that, or keep one for beta 3 to have a different kind of solution for that, but we'll close them. There is nothing more to do right now. This one, renaming body part, it's ready. I kept it for the end because I want to see if we need to merge it now or if we wait for migrations. So the idea is that, let's see, I don't think we used these names because we talked about it during triage. So the idea would be to rename the body part into HTML body part. I don't remember what we said, but it's in the documentation. Okay, so rename the module named body into OrchardCore.html. Okay, this is not just about body; it's about having an HTML body. The same way we have the OrchardCore.markdown module. Okay. Why is it here? Okay, no, this is not what we say. Okay, so module names will call OrchardCore.markdown, OrchardCore.html. The markdown body part .markdown property. There will be a markdown body part. There will be an HTML body part. The markdown body part will have a markdown property, and the HTML body part will have an HTML property. The view models will have the source, whatever is typed in as markdown or as HTML, and a .html, which will be the transformed HTML, the thing that you can use as is to render on the view. source.html and source and also .html. Okay. If, and it is the case, if the markdown or the HTML contain liquid, then this HTML won't contain liquid. It will just contain the final HTML. So all these changes, and mostly for the body part, are breaking change. So any website that has a body will lose its content. It will still be there, but it won't be rendered because the property will change. So it's better to do the breaking changes now than later. But Jasmine said we could do a migration because we know what changes. So if someone does a migration, I'm fine with that. But if we don't do then we don't have a migration right now. And if we don't do the migration, then should we take it now? Do you think I'm for merging this branch, even if it's breaking, because it's a beta 1. So we are just breaking the ones in the dev branch, and there will be more breaking changes. Or do people think we should not break that thing and wait for a migration? And if nobody thinks, then I'm the only one to think, and then I will take my decision. Deep question.
Yeah, somehow I look and there's no upgrade path in the migration files. We just have create for now. So since we are in beta, I think maybe we should just go and break things.
And obviously the ones who said they are okay to break are the ones who don't have a website running right now.
Yeah.
But at the same time, the one who have a website running right now are not here to say that they don't like it.
I have 2 websites and I don't mind that.
Well, I'm going to do it today. So I mean, for
Okay. So worst case, people can still create migration after that. Like if they see there is an issue for migrating to a new version, they can write their own migration, or they can change the content manually if they want. That's not that hard either. Or create a migration that everyone can reuse. That's a community project. If you care about something, you can implement it.
Maybe we could just provide a SQL just to do the migration instead of just coding it.
It can be a console app, it can be anything, it can be a SQL script. SQL will be hard because you can't parse. Yes, you can parse JSON, but it's harder. It will be better to have a migration class, which is just C# code. Done. Yeah, okay. So I assume we merge that, and that will be the last one to be merged for beta 2. I already have more breaking changes to do for beta 3 or RC if there is a beta 3, but there will be a beta 3 earlier than the RC. This issue is interesting because I'm almost sure it worked, but Matthias will answer the comment I made before. So the idea is that from Matthias changes, if you use the back part or the flow part, which are containers of other parts and fields, other widgets, sorry, then if one of the item is not valid, actually the one after that, so let me show you some code. If from a driver you call try update model async, okay, to update the model from a field, from a part, from any driver. Because on a page we have many drivers, we'll use the same updater. Updater is actually the controller in this case. But in MVC, if you call try update model async, it returns false even if it succeeded when the model state is already invalid. So if your first field is invalid, then the model state will be invalid. And all the subsequent calls to try update model async will return false, even if it succeeded in binding the other form and view model. So to me, it's completely not expected that this call would return false, even if it succeeded, because yeah, I succeeded to do that, but still I will return false. And if I cared about the fact that the model is not valid, even though this one succeeded, I could still check model.isValid. It will still be false, that's fine. But this thing should not return false, in my opinion. I checked with the MVC devs and for .NET Core and also for the previous version of MVC, and this always worked like this. So it is completely unintuitive, in my opinion. It should just return nothing then, because just returning model.isValid or not. So what Matthias has done here in this branch is fine, is creating a new model state dictionary to store the state of what's happening before calling the update of a method, and then we get a new model state when we call a driver, and after that we merge the new result with the previous one. Okay, so we are flowing all the new model state of each driver in the main common model state, and in the end we have the common model state. Okay, so that's totally fine, and it does it for the bag and the flow part. Good. My question though is that if this is the actual behavior, how does it work with things which are not in a bag part or in a flow part, but are all in the same content item? Like I have just a title, an Autoroute part, and a body part. Don't we have the same issue? And if we had the same issue, we would have seen it before, because a lot of times we have, or maybe we didn't, I don't know. Maybe it's just about updating the state and not showing the errors. The errors will still be displayed, but the state won't be updated correctly. Maybe I'm wrong, or maybe, yeah. So my question I put on the PR was that instead of putting it in the black part and the flow part where you found the issue, why not put it in the controller model of report?
You are right. You are right, Sebastian. This is happening in the title too.
Okay, so we need to put this thing in the controller model updater, and let me show you what it does. Because this thing is actually what is the updater that is passed to all the drivers, and when we call try_update model, it will flow it to the controller try_update model. But in this case here, before each try_update model method, we could, so for one updater, we could have the code you made with the new model dictionary, model binary dictionary, or model state dictionary, sorry, and then on each call, we clear it, and then we merge the result back to the main one. So we could do exactly what you did, but not in the back part and the flow part, but in this class. So that everything that is using try_update model will get, so when we call try_update model on the drivers one, then we get a new cleared model state every time we call it. So it will do the correct behavior. Can you try that, or do you want me to do that?
I'm not sure if I could do it tomorrow.
No, I can do it. That's fine. I will do it this afternoon.
I'm sorry.
That's okay. That's your fault. You are bad, Matthias. Bad. We can't rely on you. Oh my god. We should remove you from the project. Actually, where is that? Okay, I will try to do that. First, I will try to repro your issue, because that's weird. We didn't see it before, but maybe we saw the validation errors, but not that the state was not updated correctly. And it depends on each driver, as you mentioned. It's only when you do, let me show you something like this. DateField display, DateField driver. It's only when you have, see, if you take into account the result, because sometimes we don't care about taking the result into account to do different things. In this case, we want to see, oh, if we could not parse the date time, then we'll assign null. Otherwise, we convert it to UTC. But sometimes we don't do the if here. We just update the model and take it as is. If it's empty or not, we don't care. It will just update the model state. But in this case, we see the issue. So this is why you mentioned that also. So maybe it depends on the drivers, and we never saw that on the title driver, maybe title part. Display. Yeah, you see this one doesn't do the if, so it doesn't care about the result. So that's why we never saw that from the title or some things. But yeah, okay, I will try to do this solution. Good. Topics, questions. So what did I say about the release? So this will be merged. This I will fix afternoon. These ones, they are just documentation, so one of them will be closed, another one will be targeted for beta 3. And we can ship. Any objections to ship or something we are missing for shipping? Something we are missing for shipping. Once all the PRs are merged, I'm missing some discussions here. Okay.
Do we make an announcement like for beta 1?
Did we make any announcement? Oh, what did you make?
On web blobs, Microsoft blogs.
On the AspNet blogs. Yeah, I can ask once we have something shipped. I can ask to have a blog post. Yes. Yes. So in the meantime, so I will merge the branches today, so everything will be ready. I will create a branch. Okay. Just to be clear, create beta 2 branch. Okay, so that if something arrives on dev, we can merge it and it's not blocking beta 2.
With breaking changes.
Then create beta 2 branch. We'll take something like 2 days for testing. Okay. To run all the recipes, to create types, to edit content, to make a site, things like this. If you want to add functional tests, they will always be merged. Okay. So that for testing and also documentation. So like if we want to update documentation, we don't need to. It won't block anything. We don't need to rebuild. We can just we still do some PRs, but we can add more documentation, blog posts, and everything about all the changes. I will update, but I think I will only do that once it's on get.org. I will update the OrchardCore.Samples repository that only contains some things related to modularity and multi-tenancy. Has nothing to do with the CMS. That's it. Release notes. The release notes, do we want them in documentation or so? Release notes. So Antoine made a page already in documentation. Should we have that in the documentation or in the GitHub release page? And by the way, I will create a beta 2 tag for the release. And I will also create a beta 1 tag for the release because we didn't do that for the previous release. Just adding a tag for the current branch and adding some release notes. And then we can have the release notes in the GitHub release and just a link to the GitHub release page.
Are you adding a zip of the source code?
There will be a zip of the source code, but it will be created automatically by GitHub. I don't think people should care about this zip. It's just like we can also link to announcements and blog posts if we want. I like the GitHub release page because I personally go on when I see an open source project like this, I go on the releases to get the latest thing and to see what's the release and release notes. This way I don't have to look into the docs to find the release notes because they're never there. They are not where I'm looking for them. And this thing is more obvious, I think. And also having a single point where we have the release notes and we just put a link to the GitHub release so that we don't have many things to update every time we want to change it. Any opinions? Antoine, what do you say? Do you prefer it in documentation or in the release notes? Or in the
I don't mind. It was just to list all the features we implemented.
Yep, about that. Okay, so if I take your page here.
Yes, in fact, it's already generated on OrchardCore docs.
Yeah, it's easier to go on the pull request. Oh no, you merged it already. No, you didn't merge it because you didn't create a pull request. So here, the list of features you found. Here, not that one. Here, you have that. Ooh, no those. Just one. That. So 2.1 Bootstrap 4.1. I put 4.0. Admin responsive menu. Correct. Many things, many small things actually. Assets user interface improvements. Dynamic cache module wrong. I called it so. Let me show you what I wrote. Why?
Yes, I was doing this one. I saw the module and I didn't exactly know what it was.
Okay. So let me show you because I also wrote something in the roadmap while you were doing that. So this is what I have from the roadmap. If I can.
Fragment catching.
Okay, this one. Okay, from the roadmap, I have NetCore 1, I have precompiled razor pages and precompiled views and razor pages. Okay, Bootstrap 1.1, so it's like themes. I'm not reading this if you are okay, nothing. Admin responsive menu, okay, asset user interface improvements, dynamic cache module, I wrote actually fragment caching. So it's fragment caching. There is an update on the dynamic cache module, which is now also using fragment caching. So we externalize all the caching logic from the dynamic cache module to fragment caching tags and features. And then the dynamic cache module is using that also. Liquid cache filters is part of that. Menu and query tag helpers. Okay. Content. Manifest module and oh, that's a big thing. Code-based manifest files.
Maybe it should be in the breaking change.
Yeah, we'll see. Beta 2, everything is breaking. Everything is a change. OpenID and OpenID modules. So OpenID is OpenID new in beta 2? I don't think so.
I was listing the issue closed in milestone beta 2, and one of them was about OpenID, but maybe just an upgrade of the package from Kevin.
Yeah, upgrades. There are also improvements also, and this I can't. Doesn't want to tab like the other ones. I don't know why. Reset password and send confirmation, and I did mail and password reset. Mail. And confirmation. That time zones, okay. Time zones setting setup. Date time fields, workflows, forms.
Just saying also user time zone. Okay.
Then we have that. So good. Let's see all the new things. We must have more things. Well, sure. Who cares? Photos on file. Oh my god. Gene 3.0. NUnit, okay. NUnit 4.1.
The SQL beta.
I think that's the most changes. Mainly this one. That should be okay. Okay, I will put that. We'll see if we're missing something or someone. Matthias is here. In the menu improvements. I think that's it. We can always update that if we are missing something. Good. Okay, that's the reasons. Other questions?
No.
Sipke, are you happy?
I'm very happy.
Good.
Looks good.
So what's your next module?
Some improvements on the forms module as well as the workflows module. I listed the tasks in the two projects that you can find on GitHub.
Okay.
So there's a forms and a workflows module. The first feature enhancement will be the ability to select a workflow and associate it with a form, and also the ability to automatically generate or scaffold an empty workflow associated with a form, so that you have a quick start, and it will have a form activity and maybe something else that makes sense to have by default, but we'll see.
Okay. Bertrand, what will be your next module?
Was it? Yes.
Yeah, he has to answer.
Yeah.
I should put it on the roadmap. I didn't show you the roadmap.
That's great. It's okay, I think. Yes, Yanni? No.
Yes.
No. No. Roadmap. I created a beta 3 thing. So I moved GraphQL and JSON API here because it doesn't pass the test for now. And I assume we can release beta 3 shortly after that. Background task management. So these two things are already done, but they haven't been tested or used ready. So I don't want to take it in beta 2 for now. There are also some PRs and already started or almost ready that will make it. If they're just not here yet, I will add them in the backlog. So we have a main backlog. Some of them will be in the beta 3 release. It's just that nobody has started them. So at that point, we don't know which ones. If you want to pick one, just pick one, and then we are done in 2 months for RC. But that's how it works, but that's not how it will be done. So we'll see. Matthias, do you want to pick one, or do you want to focus on media?
I'd like to improve the media.
Yeah.
And maybe I'd like to take a look to navigation.
Navigation. Okay. Yeah, they are not big ones. That's nice. I think Chris will do output caching. He's very good at output caching. I think I will take taxonomies and entity APIs because things and reasons.
Taxonomies and tags.
Yeah. Good. Okay, I will update that also. But maybe it's okay. If I miss something, I will add it there. But we'll see in the release notes. That's it. Questions? No more questions? So look for the release or the release notes, or I will ping you for anything. And what asking me? I don't care. Okay, all done. Thanks everyone. See you on Tuesday, maybe for the release, at least for triage. I will also look at the bugs that are created if there will be last minute things we want to change or bug to fix as we do some more testing. But please, if you can do something, is download the dev branch and try to make a website. Just or weird things or try the features to see if there is something that is blocking. There might be bugs, but there are bugs where we know they might not make it to beta 2, but at least we have to triage them to know about them. Thanks everyone. Bye bye.
Bye everyone.
Bye guys.
Bye bye.
Bye bye.